Hello all, welcome to the Web Application Pen Testing course at Pentester Academy. Now in this video, I'd like to introduce you to the different HTML tags which can be used to trigger csrf attacks. Now in the last demonstration with WebGoat, you've already seen that the image tag can be used. Let's actually do the demo with a couple of other tags. So I'm going to start my WebGoat instance, right? If you aren't sure how I downloaded WebGoat and etc. from, please refer to the last video which has all the details. So now that WebGoat is started, let's actually access it. So here is the login page and I'm going to go with guest, sign in, and let's actually go to the last csrf example, which is cross-site request forgery, right? Now the requirement, as you recall, was to go ahead and add an extra parameter, transfer funds. So let's quickly get the URL, hit developer tools, go to network, minimize this a little bit, click on this, let's go up. Here is the URL. I can just copy the URL from in here. Fantastic. Let me paste it in a notepad instance. Okay, so in the last video we saw the image tag, right? One of the other popular tags is the iframe tag. Again, you can mention the source in here, right? There are a lot of other parameters which can go in depending on what we want to accomplish, right? In some cases, you know, if not all, you want the iframe to be hidden, not be viewable. Now I'll be putting out a lot of web application challenges, I think around 10 or 12 of them at least, on csrf, which is going to cover many of these variations, right? In the theory videos, I'd just like to cover this conceptually. So let me copy this out. Let's go back to the app. And I'm going to call this the iframe demo. All right, I'm going to paste my little iframe in here, add the extra ampersand transfer funds equals 4,000. Hit a submit. I see the message appear in here. We actually verify that the request actually goes through before we view it. Let's scroll down. Now I'm going to click on the message list and click on iframe demo. When the message opens up, of course, the first request is fetching the message, and then we should actually see the transfer funds go through if all works well. There we go. And if I go ahead and look at the first one, you'd actually see this is really fetching the message. You can click on preview and probably see the message getting fetched in here, right? And basically what you would actually find is this is the real URL, ampersand transfer funds equals 4,000, which is triggered using the iframe, right? Fantastic. I'm going to be putting out a couple of interesting challenges which might have variations of the iframe technique. So keep looking at the web application challenges section. Now, apart from this, if you click on this, the csrf demo is done, but let me reset it. Apart from this, one of the other tags which can be used is the script tag. So we could go back in here and let's say script tag, right? And then we can go to our little notepad, copy this out, paste this, change this to script tag, add the ampersand, transfer funds equals 4,000. Copy this out. Paste it in here. So now we have the script tag demo. Let me go back again to my network param monitoring. And now let me click on the script tag message. Again, we see two of them go through. The first, of course, is going to be the fetching of the message. And the second one is basically fetching transfer funds equals 4,000. Something else was probably added in by the browser. Now, if you go back in here, refresh this page, go down below, click on script tags. Again, find that the CSRF challenge is successfully been completed. So if you look at it, pretty much any tag which allows you to fetch something from the remote server by the specification of a source parameter in it is going to go ahead and help you trigger a csrf attack. Now, what are the other possibilities? The other possibility includes using XML HTTP requests. Now, these have two variations. The first is when you found some sort of an injection vulnerability on the victim site, right? Such as an HTML injection vulnerability, an XSS, which could be reflected or stored, right, etc. The other possibility is using XML HTTP requests to load from the attacker's website if there is a favorable CORS or a cross-origin policy, right? Now, I'm going to be taking up CORS in way more detail much later in these videos. So I don't want to go ahead and, disrupt the flow. Let's keep it simple for the time being. And in this case, I'm going to assume an HTML injection vulnerability which allows me to inject script tags as well. So now let me use an XML HTTP request. Now keep in mind that the last three tags would work perfectly even from the attacker's website, right? And typically these tags allow you only to send a GET request, while an XML HTTP request allows you to send other methods as well, such as get, post, put, etc. Right? Most of the methods are allowed. There are some restrictions, and I would recommend you look at the JavaScript for pen testers course to learn more about XML HTTP requests and how they can be used successfully to go ahead and do client-side exploitation. Okay. So now let me create an XML HTTP request for the same. And again, if this isn't clear to you, please look at the JavaScript for pen testers course. So I'm going to say request equals new XML HTTP request. And then we have request.open. The method is the first option, which would be get, then the URL, and then if we want it to be synchronous or asynchronous. Most of the time, you're only going to go with asynchronous. Now, actually copy this out. This be the URL. I'm going to copy out this entire tag in here. Let's go back to the vulnerable application, restart the lesson. Let's verify the lesson has been restarted or hasn't. Let's restart the lesson. Let's verify it real quick. The lesson is restarted now. Okay. And now I'm going to do the XML HTTP request demo. And in this case, now I put in an actual JavaScript code within a script tag, right? Let's hit submit. Let's hit XML HTTP request demo. Before that, let's open up our network monitor. There we go. So the first request, of course, was for the message. The second one is really our XML HTTP request going back, right? And if we look at the response, which of course we aren't doing anything with right now on the page, we see that transfer funds has been successfully completed. Fantastic. Now in this case, we went ahead and injected the XML HTTP request because a vulnerability existed. Now let's see what happens if we try to load the same page up through an attacker controlled website, right? So I'm going to remove and click restart lesson again. And let's create an HTML page in here. Let's call this attacker.html. Quickly going to go ahead and put this in here. Paste the script tag. Open this up now in Firefox. Page opened. We'd ideally like to monitor the network. So let me quickly do a refresh of this. Go back in here, ensure the lesson is restarted. Let's go in here. Click on this. Click on network. Refresh the page. And I've hit this, right? And you actually notice that nothing seems to have apparently happened. We basically just seem to get like a location HTTP header which tells us where this is, probably pushing us towards a login.mbc, something or the other, right? I'm leaving this as a little teaser for you guys to investigate further when we are going to talk about XML HTTP requests, cores, and all of that. We'll be discussing this in more detail. Great. So the real conclusion is that there are multiple tags and other techniques which can be used to trigger csrf attacks. And we've discussed a couple of them, right? Fantastic. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and please do try out these variations using WebGoat and other vulnerable software out there. That's all for this video. If you're enjoying your time at Pentester Academy, please recommend us to your friends and colleagues in the InfoSec community. Thank you.